Hey, Papa here. We've been talking about rocks in the eastern United States, including Georgia, that contain quartz, feldspar, muscovite, and biotite. And I want to tell you about some other rocks in addition to the ones we've discussed, which were granite and granite gneiss. I want to tell you about some other rocks that contain at least some of those big four minerals. But first, I got to talk to you about how all these rocks form. So let's look at this picture that I drew. Okay, this is the bottom of the ocean. I'm not talking about all the sediments like sand and limey mud that are down there, but what's below all that is the bottom of the ocean is called ocean crust. And when this is the land, the part of the drawing with the little crosses in it, that's land crust, ocean crust. Those are the two kinds of crust that exist on the earth. In other words, the surface of the earth is covered by crust, and there are two kinds. Ocean crust, which is heavy and sinks down to the bottom of the ocean, and land crust, which is lightweight and floats up to the top. Well, often, when we talk about continents crashing, what happens is the ocean crust is pushing this way and it hits the land and is shoved down underneath the land crust. That's called subduction. The ocean crust is subducted beneath the land crust. It's pushed way down deep into the mantle, many miles down there, where it starts to melt. And when it starts to melt, the melted rock, which is magma, starts to rise and it forms a volcano. The kind of volcanoes that you find like Mount St. Helens in Washington and Mount Lassen in Northern California. They're called stratovolcanoes. They're the big volcanoes that explode and erupt with massive explosions that cause all the damage, like the volcano that blew up and covered Pompeii, Italy. Stratovolcanoes. And this is how they form. So when that happens, when all that ocean crust melts, it forms into three kinds of magma, three kinds of melted rock. Up at the very top of the volcano, represented by these dots, that's where the lightweight, light-colored magma that has mostly quartz and feldspar in it forms. And that's called felsic magma, felsic. It's light-colored and it's lightweight. The reason it floats up to the top is because it is lightweight. Quartz and feldspar, even though they make heavy rocks, are much lighter in weight than other rocks that we're going to talk about. Felsic, how do you remember felsic? Well, if Bobby Joe, your friend, fell sick with the flu, he would get pale, right? Okay, that's ridiculous, but it works. Okay, underneath all of this felsic rock, and that includes granite and other rocks I'll tell you about. Just remember, lots of quartz and feldspar up here, potassium feldspar. Underneath that is a layer of what we call intermediate rocks. They're medium in color, which you could say they're grayish in color, or black and white spotted or striped, and they're medium in weight. Biotite is a mineral that's considered an intermediate mineral. Okay, biotite is black, so it's very dark, but it's also lighter in weight than the darkest of minerals, so it's kind of considered in the middle. And also sodium feldspar is another in the middle kind of mineral. So if you put sodium feldspar and biotite together, you get an intermediate rock. This going to look kind of grayish or black and white polka dot, kind of like that. Down at the bottom is the dark magma. And that's the kind of magma that when it erupts forms that Hawaii kind of black lava, the lava that we think about most likely. It's very heavy and it's very dark. It's heavy in weight and it's dark, and that's called mafic. So you have three kinds of magma that form with these massive stratovolcanoes like Mount St. Helens. You have lightweight felsic rock or magma, you have intermediate magma, and you have mafic magma. So we're going to talk about right now, what is this felsic and lightweight magma made up of? You already know, because we've told you that felsic rocks are made of quartz, mostly quartz and potassium feldspar. So we're going to look at some more rocks that have quartz and potassium feldspar in it. So it's because those are the two of our main four. Okay, Papa out. Here comes the next video.